Welcome back to the daily discussion. So I'm going to talk about stress again because I got a comment in my last video from my Aunt Sarah talking about how she would get stressed out by I shouldn't say stressed out by other people, but kind of the same thing I do, where she would almost care too much about trying to help somebody else who either didn't really want to help themselves or that you just couldn't help for whatever reason. But it actually, what got me thinking actually more from that comment was what language I use when I'm talking about stress when it involves people rather than situations, specifically people that are close to you or that you truly care about deeply. So I'm sure most of us have said something to the effect of like, man, you're going to give me a heart attack, or you make my blood boil, or whatever, or you're going to get my blood pressure up, something to that effect. And that is actually using word associations that put stress in a negative light. But that's kind of what I'm saying is that that I especially have to shift to go away from thinking that. And I didn't even catch it until she kind of made that comment, because I've kind of said those things too. I've definitely said them. Whether I've fully meant them or not, it's almost like a figure of speech. But that figure of speech, when we use those patterns over and over, become something that we actually start to believe in some way, shape, or form. So catching yourself using that language about stress is where we have to kind of go or start and go, okay, hey, I need to change the way I talk about it in the first place. And I'm talking about for this, because I didn't even think about that until she kind of made that comment. And again, I've worked on not trying to, I don't want to say sound in a negative way, but care about somebody else's outcome as much, because I don't have control of it. So I've been trying to let people live their lives and not care more than they do. I guess that's the better way of saying it. I'm trying not to care more than they do about what they're doing and how they're doing it. I'm more here to kind of guide when needed. But I actually have to pay attention to this now that I've kind of brought it to my own attention and say, all right, I want to shift from using that language about stress for everything. Let me know what you think about that, and if that resonates with you, and how often do you say those things that put stress in a negative light just by the language you use, whether you intended to or not.